So when this retinue of Muruga, they march along, they witness this mountain, Kraunchagiri, which is a fascinating image for dancers especially. And this actually represents Maya, and can you elaborate on what it does and how it ties to the philosophy?
Yeah, again, Karuna, like Krauncha is a bird, and here is a mountain which keeps changing its form and kind of, again lures the saints, the sages, and keeps changing itself, keeps changing its form. And how were people deceived? They looked at something that glittered and they thought there was a cave inside, and they walked in and got lost. And the mountain would gulp them down. And this Krauncha was supposed to have been a cousin brother of Surapadma. And temptation, glitter, all these are cousins, right? And we get fooled. We lose focus. The sages who are walking, they should have had their focus. Instead of their focus, how did they get deceived by looking at a cave and which glittered? They left their path and then deviated to get in there and got lost. And that is why we say Kunruruva Velvangi Nindra Mukham. And Krauncha was first split. It was a labyrinthine mountain which was trying to deceive people. And again, the way we get deceived by many things, not only temptation, by lethargy, by easy force and easy power and easy authority. All these are kind of labyrinthine forces which deviate us from our focused path and kind of, take us away.
And also I think, Akka, the biggest thing is, whether it's possessions or what you are proud about yourself, there is a certain feeling that it's going to be there forever, which is the biggest Maya, isn't it? And so then we move into that Kraunchagiri ourselves.
And that is again the mountain. Why a mountain? Because we tend to think a mountain is permanent. Like, mountain is something, it's symbolic of a huge structure, something which is anchored. And all these things we fall a prey into, we tend to imagine that they are permanent and anchored forever.
Yeah, it is relationships. It can be
anything. It can be anything. All the human frailties, the fallacies into which we fall. Thinking that they are permanent, they are going to keep us anchored, they are going to give us, strength like a mountain. Yes, this relationship will give me strength like a mountain, and this authority will give me more power. This post will give me something, money will give me something. All that sources we think would anchor us, would not anchor us. And how the mountain got destroyed, all these would also get destroyed.
And I think before these people who are in the mountain are freed, of course the veil goes to pierce the mountain, and there is this beautiful thing of Arnd Agandra Nunniyan. And can you tell us about what knowledge and how it should be in order to pierce the mountain of Maya?
Arnd Agandra Nunniyan. The veil itself, the spear itself, is shaped in such a way that the lower part of the spear is broad, and then the top portion is very pointed. So it requires that your wisdom will have to be initially broad enough, and from that wisdom you derive that sharpness. It is not that a shallow knowledge that could give you sharpness. The wisdom will have to be broad-based. Once the wisdom, that is why Muruga himself is called Jnana Pandita. And the veil signifies Jnanam. The spear signifies Jnanam. If your wisdom is broad-based, inclusive, it can pierce with a pointed front.
And it needs that deep base.
Yes, it requires the deep base. It has to be, the wisdom has to be nurtured again and again, kind of, reinforced and reiterated, reinforced. Subsequently, it becomes pointed. And through, you have another string, another base. It was not that Muruga did all this effortlessly, at least by the storyline. We can understand God could have done all this effortlessly, but then he takes efforts to go and acquire that spear, and any number of stories that go along with. But then to acquire that wisdom,
and Devi gives the Shakti.
yes, you need to make efforts. It is not that superficially, yes, I am standing here, let everything come to me. No, I would have to make efforts.
And when Muruga is standing example for effort, then we...
Yeah, the God is the role model. It's simple. All these myths indicate you don't have to search for role models elsewhere. God himself comes down to become a role model. After Kraunchagiri being split, the third of the brothers, Taraka, is killed. You know what Surapadma is supposed to have done? He was in an island and protecting him, trying to think that the waters would save him. And he had established a city for the second brother, Simamukha, and then still more outer was another city for Taraka. So Surapadma's thinking was, if someone will have to come near me, they would have to first approach Taraka would defeat them, and then if at all they circumvent Taraka, they would have to encounter Simamukha and then only come to me. So layers and layers of protection he had given himself. And then Taraka is annihilated, and Taraka was elephant headed. Elephant is an intelligent animal. And many times we tend to think that intelligence would save us. Without even realizing, intelligence can be very dangerous. And now if we take all these three brothers, we call them Rakshasas, Asuric forces, we also call them Rakshasas. I would just want you to do one small little exercise, Karuna. Maybe take a small piece of paper and then write Rakshasa in any Indian language. I'm saying Indian language because the phonetic writing would be there. Otherwise, you may not be able to get the feel of it. Rakshasa. Okay? Read from this side. Not read from here, but read from here. Sakshara. Rakshasa. Sakshara. Now, Sakshara is an epithet for Ambal herself. But then what does the term mean? Akshara is someone who is educated. Sakshara means someone who is far more educated, which means very intelligent, right? So, if the intelligence becomes topsy-turvy, and that is what is Rakshasa. Sakshara turned around becomes Rakshasa. Yes. If your intelligence is kind of crooked, it becomes Asuric. And that is what Tarakasura meant. He was an elephant-headed guy. And after we go through these other two brothers, we'll come back to Tarakasura to define the three malas or the three blemishes that any human soul will have to do away with.